Hey there, and welcome to another deep dive.
Oh, sounds exciting. What are we diving into today?
Well, you know how we love getting those insightful emails from you all.
Yes. Our listeners always have the best recommendations.
Totally. And this time, someone sent us a blog post all about Sagittarius season 2024.
Ooh, Sagittarius season. That's coming up quickly.
It is. It's actually right around the corner, starting November 21st and running through December 21st.
A time for adventure, boldness, and all that good stuff.
Exactly. And the blog post we're looking at is titled Sagittarius season 2024. What's in store for each rising sign?
I love that, getting specific with the rising signs.
Right. It's from a blog called Meinum CERN. So we'll be pulling insights from that post to guide our conversation today.
Sounds fascinating. I'm ready to unpack all of this Sagittarius energy.
Me too. But before we dive into the specifics of each rising sign, maybe we should do a quick overview of Sagittarius season in general, just to set the stage.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Not everyone is a total astrology buff.
Right. So for anyone needing a little refresher, what is Sagittarius season all about?
Well, at its core, Sagittarius season is all about embracing that adventurous, fiery energy.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely feel that vibe. But what does that actually mean for, the average person?
It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, trying new things, and expanding your horizons.
So does that mean everyone should book a spontaneous trip to a foreign country?
Not necessarily. While travel is definitely a Sagittarius thing, this energy applies to all areas of life. It could be trying a new hobby, taking a different route to work, or even just striking up a conversation with someone you wouldn't normally talk to.
I like that. It's about pushing those small boundaries, no matter how big or small.
Exactly. And it's not just about doing things differently. It's about approaching life with that optimistic, can-do Sagittarius spirit.
So it's like a universal push toward growth, both internally and externally.
I like that way of putting it. It's about embracing the unknown and seeing where it takes you.
Now I'm curious, how does this energy actually manifest for each individual? We can't all be experiencing it in the exact same way, right?
Absolutely not. That's where your rising sign comes into play.
Okay, so the rising sign adds a unique layer to how we experience these broader Sagittarius themes.
Think of it as a filter. It influences how you express those core Sagittarius qualities.
So before we get into those personalized forecasts, what are the big picture Sagittarius themes that we should all be aware of?
Well, as we mentioned, adventure is huge. Sagittarius is all about exploration, pushing boundaries, expanding your horizons, and all that jazz.
Right, but we talked about how adventure doesn't always have to mean physical travel.
Totally. It's more about a mindset, a willingness to step outside of your routine and embrace new experiences.
Okay, adventure, check. What else?
Boldness. Sagittarius season is a time to be courageous, speak your truth, and pursue what sets your soul on fire.
I love that. It's like the universe is giving us permission to be a little more daring, a little more audacious.
It is, and it's not about being reckless. It's about trusting your instincts and taking calculated risks that align with your goals and values.
Okay, so we've got adventure and boldness. Anything else to add to this Sagittarius season cocktail?
Oh, one more very important ingredient. Purpose.
Purpose. Tell me more.
Sagittarius season also invites us to connect with our higher purpose, our guiding values, It's a time to ask ourselves, what truly matters to me? Am I living in alignment with my core beliefs?
It's almost like a cosmic check-in.
Exactly. It's a perfect opportunity to reevaluate, recalibrate, and make sure you're on the right path, heading in the right direction.
Okay, so adventure, boldness, purpose. Now, I am dying to know how this all plays out for each rising sign. Should we start breaking it down?
Let's do it. I'm ready to get into those personalized forecasts.
All right, first up, we have Aries rising, those fiery trailblazers.
Aries rising, always ready to take action.
What does Sagittarius season have in store for them?
Well, the blog post puts it perfectly. It says, leap first, figure it out later, which is such an Aries thing to do, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. They're all about that instinctual action.
Exactly. So this season just amplifies their natural boldness, encouraging them to be decisive, to chase after what excites them, and to really trust their gut.
So are we talking big career moves, passion projects? What kind of bold action might an Aries rising be drawn to during this time?
Well, the blog specifically mentions that this could be the perfect time for an Aries rising to, finally pitch that business idea they've been sitting on.
Ooh, I love that.
Or maybe even book that solo trip they've been dreaming of.
It's all about pushing those boundaries.
Right, and stepping outside of their comfort zone in a big way.
Speaking of comfort zones, let's move on to Taurus rising. They're known for their love of stability and routine.
Taurus, the grounded earth sign.
So I'm curious to see how this adventurous, spontaneous energy of Sagittarius season plays out for them.
It's an interesting combination because, Taurus is an earth sign, valuing stability, while Sagittarius is a fire sign, all about change and movement.
Right, a bit of a clash.
You could say that, but the blog emphasizes that it's not about completely upending their lives.
Okay, good. I can see some Taurus risings getting a little anxious about that.
For sure. But instead, Sagittarius season just encourages Taurus rising to shake things up in small ways. Just step outside that routine a little bit and embrace new experiences, even if they seem a bit unconventional.
It's interesting. But I could also see some Taurus risings digging in their heels and resisting even those small changes.
Oh, absolutely. Change can be tough for everyone, especially for those who value stability.
So how would you advise a Taurus rising to approach this season?
I think the key is to focus on those small wins. Celebrate any step they take outside of their comfort zone.
That makes sense. Acknowledging progress no matter how small.
Exactly. And maybe even rewarding themselves for those little victories. That sounds very Taurus-friendly, right?
Oh, totally. Treat yourself.
Now, while Taurus might feel a bit out of their element with all this Sagittarius energy, Gemini rising might find themselves right at home.
Oh, yes. Gemini, the social butterfly.
Always curious, always connecting.
So, what kind of social adventures might be in store for them during this season?
Well, get ready for a whirlwind of networking events, late-night chats, and exciting new connections. The blog really highlights this as a prime time for Gemini rising to expand their social circle.
It's like their social butterfly wings get supercharged.
Exactly. They'll be flitting from one conversation to the next, soaking up all that new information and inspiration.
Okay, that sounds exciting. But with all this social energy swirling around, do you think there's a risk of Gemini rising spreading themselves too thin?
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of all these new connections.
Right. Even butterflies need to rest sometimes.
And the blog actually does offer a word of caution, a pro tip for Gemini rising.
Oh, let's hear it.
Protect your energy.
Okay, makes sense. Pace yourself.
Exactly. All that socializing can be draining, so it's essential for them to balance their social life with some downtime, just recharge and process all those new encounters.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that applies to all of us, really. Even the most extroverted folks need to prioritize self-care. Okay, next up we have Cancer rising, the nurturing homebodies of the zodiac.
Cancer rising, always creating that cozy, welcoming vibe.
So I'm curious to see how this adventurous energy of Sagittarius season might manifest for them.
Well, Sagittarius season invites them to expand their definition of home. It might involve a physical journey, of course.
Right, maybe exploring new places, new culture.
Exactly. But it could also be about creating that sense of comfort and belonging in new environments, maybe by joining a new community group or exploring a different part of their city. It's about finding new ways to feel nurtured and secure outside of their usual routines.
So it's not necessarily about pushing Cancer rising to become globetrotters, but more about encouraging them to explore different facets of comfort and connection.
Exactly. And the pro tip for Cancer rising is to find that sweet spot between adventure and cozy downtime.
I love that. So maybe they try a new restaurant in their neighborhood one night and then curl up with a good book the next.
Perfect example. It's all about balance.
All right, I'm digging this. Next, we have Leo rising, the radiant stars of the show.
Leo rising, always ready to shine.
What happens when Sagittarius season turns its spotlight on them?
Ooh, it gets exciting. Sagittarius season throws a cosmic spotlight on their creativity. It encourages them to express themselves fully, shine bright, and pursue their passions with that signature Leo gusto.
Ooh, so it's all about embracing that main character energy.
Absolutely. Think of it as a time for Leo rising to really own their spotlight, whether that's through a creative project or performance, or simply by expressing their unique personality with more confidence and flair.
I can already picture them rocking a bold new outfit or trying out that stand-up comedy routine they've been dreaming of.
Exactly. And the blog's advice to Leo rising is simple. Don't hold back.
Yes. Let that Leo energy roar.
Yeah. This season is all about letting your brilliance be seen and your roar be heard.
All right. While Leo rising is embracing the spotlight, Virgo rising might be taking a slightly different approach. They're known for being meticulous and detail-oriented.
Oh, yes, Virgo rising, the masters of organization and planning.
So I wonder how this season of adventure and boldness might sit with them.
It's a good question. Virgo is an earth sign, which means they tend to thrive on structure and routine, right?
They like things to be a certain way.
Exactly. So Sagittarius season, with its emphasis on spontaneity and letting go, might feel a little unsettling at first.
So are we saying Virgos should just throw their planners out the window and go with the flow?
Not exactly. I mean, a little bit of structure is always good.
Okay, good. I was getting a little worried there.
But it's more about encouraging Virgo rising to loosen their grip on the details a bit, just to focus on the bigger picture.
So instead of getting bogged down in the minutiae,
Exactly. This is a time for them to trust the process, to embrace a little bit of uncertainty, and to see where that takes them.
okay, I see. It's about finding a balance between their natural planning tendencies and this season's call for spontaneity.
Exactly. And the blog actually has a great pro tip for Virgo rising during this time. Trust the universe and stop trying to micromanage everything.
Ooh, I like that.
And-
Words to live by.
Letting go of control can be incredibly liberating, especially during a season that's all about exploration and expansion.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired already. Now, on to Libra rising, the diplomats of the zodiac.
Libra rising, always seeking balance and harmony.
So what does Sagittarius season bring to their already balanced scales?
It sparks their intellectual curiosity. Libra is an air sign ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty and pleasure.
So they appreciate the finer things in life.
Yes, and during Sagittarius season, they're drawn to exploring new ideas, engaging in thought-provoking discussions, and expanding their knowledge base.
Ooh, so they might be hitting the books, attending lectures, or just having those deep late-night conversations with friends.
Absolutely. It's about feeding their minds with fresh perspectives and engaging with the world in a way that challenges their existing views.
I love that. Always learning, always growing. And speaking of air signs, let's move on to Aquarius rising, the innovative visionaries of the zodiac.
Aquarius rising, always thinking outside the box.
Right, always coming up with those unique, unconventional ideas. So I bet Sagittarius season really gets their creative juices flowing.
It does. This season inspires them to dream big, connect with like-minded individuals, and to really pursue those unconventional goals that set their souls on fire.
It's about finding their tribe and working together to make those unique visions a reality, right?
Exactly. The blog even suggests that this could be a time for Aquarius rising to find success through collaboration, perhaps by joining a group project or partnering with someone who shares their passion.
Oh, I love that. The power of teamwork.
The key is to embrace teamwork and leverage the power of collective creativity.
All right, now let's dive into some water sign energy. What about Scorpio rising? They're known for their intensity and their transformative nature.
Scorpio rising, always a force to be reckoned with.
So I'm curious to see how Sagittarius season's energy blends with theirs.
Ooh, this is where things get really interesting. Sagittarius season aligns beautifully with that transformative Scorpio energy. It encourages them to embrace change, make bold moves, and really step into their power.
So it's a time for them to trust their instincts, to make those big decisions, and to really go after what they want.
Exactly. No more playing small.
Right. Scorpio rising is all about embracing their power.
And the blog highlights both personal and financial transformation as key themes for them during this period.
Interesting. So it could be about relationships, careers, finances, any area of life where they feel called to make a change.
Absolutely. And Scorpio rising often operates from a place of deep intuition. And during Sagittarius season, that intuition becomes even more heightened.
So they should really trust their gut during this time.
Exactly. The pro tip for Scorpio rising is to listen to that inner voice. It will guide them towards the changes they need to make and the path they need to follow to achieve their goals.
Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have Pisces rising, the dreamy and intuitive souls of the zodiac. How does this season of bold action and adventure play out for them?
You know, it might surprise you, but Sagittarius season puts the spotlight on Pisces rising's career and ambitions.
Really? That's unexpected.
It is. But this energy encourages them to step out of the shadows a bit and chase success with more confidence and determination.
Wow, so we might see a normally shy Pisces rising suddenly going after a promotion or finally launching that creative business they've been dreaming of.
Exactly. It's about channeling that dreamy, intuitive energy into tangible achievements. The blog suggests that recognition and success are within reach for Pisces rising during this time, but they need to believe in themselves and have the courage to pursue their goals.
That's so inspiring.
It is. We all have the potential to achieve great things.
Absolutely. Okay, before we move on, we can't forget about Sagittarius rising. What happens when the season aligns with their own sign?
Ooh, it's like their energy is amplified tenfold. Everything feels aligned with their adventurous, optimistic nature.
So they're basically the poster child for Sagittarius season.
You could say that. This is a time for Sagittarius rising to really chase their dreams, take risks, and lead the way.
And what's their pro tip?
Honestly, it's probably the simplest of all. Follow your instincts.
Classic Sagittarius.
Right. Opportunities are everywhere for Sagittarius rising during this time, so it's about trusting their gut and going after what they want with that signature Sagittarius enthusiasm.
I love that. Speaking of taking charge, let's move on to Capricorn rising, the ambitious and disciplined members of the zodiac.
Capricorn rising, always striving for success.
How does Sagittarius season's free-spirited energy affect them?
Interestingly, Sagittarius season actually encourages Capricorn rising to slow down a bit.
Slow down. That
Yeah.
seems counterintuitive for a Capricorn.
I know, right? But it's a time for soul-searching, reconnecting with their purpose, and planning their next big move. It might feel a bit counterintuitive to their usual go-getter nature, but it's essential for ensuring they're on the right track.
Okay, so instead of rushing into action, it's about taking a step back, reassessing their goals, and making sure they're aligned with their long-term vision.
Exactly. Think of it as a time for strategic planning and setting intentions. The blog even advises Capricorn rising to use this time for dreaming and visualizing their ideal future.
I like that. A little bit of dreaming can go a long way.
Absolutely. It sets them up for success in the long run.
Okay, so we've covered all 12 rising signs. That was quite a journey.
It was. And it's fascinating how Sagittarius season's energy can manifest so differently depending on your rising sign, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's like each rising sign gets a personalized pep talk from the universe, encouraging them to embrace adventure, boldness, and purpose in their own unique way. But now I want to shift gears a bit and make this a little more personal.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Listeners, I'm curious, which rising signs forecast resonated most with you? Did anything surprise you about what we've discussed so far?
It's always interesting to see how these general themes play out in individual lives.
Right. So tell us, what stands out to you about the opportunities or challenges presented for your rising sign? What feels most relevant to you right now?
I know. I was a little surprised by a couple of them.
Yeah. Which ones?
Well, Pisces rising being focused on their career during Sagittarius season.
Oh, yeah. That is interesting.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but it's not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Pisces.
Right. Exactly.
They're often seen as the dreamers, the artists.
Yeah, more of that like free-flowing energy.
Exactly. But this season highlights their potential for success in the material world, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. It's
Yeah.
like they're being given that cosmic nudge to turn those dreams into reality.
Totally. And speaking of dreams turning into reality, did any of the other rising signs forecasts stand out to you?
I was actually really intrigued by what the blog said about Capricorn rising.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
Well, the idea that they're being encouraged to slow down during Sagittarius season.
I know, right? It seems so counterintuitive for a Capricorn.
It does. They're usually all about hustling and achieving their goals.
Always on the move.
Right. But the blog emphasized that this period is about taking a step back, reassessing, and making sure they're aligned with their long-term vision.
It's almost like a cosmic timeout.
Yeah. Like, hey, Capricorn, take a breath, look around, and make sure you're still on the right track.
Exactly. And that can be so valuable, especially for someone who's always pushing forward.
Absolutely. Sometimes you need that pause to gain clarity and perspective.
Totally. So even though Sagittarius season is all about adventure and boldness, it's also about being mindful and intentional with our actions.
Right. And it seems like each rising sign is being guided to embrace those themes in a way that's unique to their energy.
Exactly. It's like a personalized cosmic pep talk.
I love that. So, listeners, as you reflect on your own rising signs forecast, what resonates with you most? What message are you receiving from the universe during this Sagittarius season?
And thinking about those themes of adventure, boldness, and purpose, is there a small step outside your comfort zone that you're feeling called to take?
Maybe it's something you've been putting off or something you've always wanted to try but haven't had the courage to do.
This season is all about embracing those opportunities for growth and expansion. So let's step into that Sagittarius energy together.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I wanted to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the idea of purpose.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it's especially relevant during Sagittarius season because this energy really encourages us to connect with our why, our driving force.
It's about aligning our actions with our values,
Yeah.
making sure we're living in a way that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Exactly. And the blog post actually had some interesting insights on this topic. It mentioned that Sagittarius season can be a time for reflecting on our beliefs and making sure they're still serving us.
Right, it's like a cosmic inventory of our belief system.
Totally. Are there any beliefs that are holding us back? Are we living in alignment with what truly matters to us? These are all great questions to ask ourselves during this time.
I think it's so important to regularly check in with ourselves and make sure our beliefs are still supporting our growth and evolution.
Absolutely. And if we find that some beliefs are no longer serving us, Sagittarius season gives us the courage to let them go and embrace new perspectives.
It's about being open to new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new ways of being in the world.
Right. It's about expanding our horizons, not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually.
And this ties back to the theme of adventure. It's not just about exploring new places or trying new things. It's about exploring new ideas and challenging our own perspectives.
I love that. It's about being curious, asking questions, and being willing to learn and grow.
Exactly. And that's what Sagittarius season is all about. Embracing that spirit of adventure, boldness, and purpose in every aspect of our lives.
Well said. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Ooh, a parting gift of wisdom.
Exactly. And it goes back to that idea of purpose. We've talked about how Sagittarius season encourages us to connect with our higher purpose. But how do we actually do that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. But I think the answer lies in being present, paying attention to the things that light us up, and following those threads of inspiration.
It's about listening to our intuition and trusting that inner voice that guides us towards our truth.
Absolutely. And sometimes that means taking a leap of faith, stepping outside our comfort zone, and pursuing those things that make our hearts sing.
Because ultimately, that's what life is all about, isn't it? Living a life that feels aligned with our soul's purpose.
Beautifully said. So, listeners, as you navigate this Sagittarius season, remember to embrace those themes of adventure, boldness, and purpose.
Trust your instincts, follow your passions, and see where the journey takes you.
And if you're looking for more insights and inspiration, be sure to check out the full blog post from Meinem Cern. We'll have a link to it in our show notes.
And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media and share your thoughts, your insights, your plans for embracing this Sagittarius energy.
Thanks for joining us on this cosmic journey.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
It really is amazing how, just hearing about these different forecasts, it can, spark so many ideas.
Totally. I mean, even if you don't follow astrology super closely, there's something about it that just gets you thinking,
Yeah. It's like a different way of looking at yourself and the world around you.
Exactly. And with Sagittarius season, it's all about that, optimistic, adventurous energy, which I think is something we could all use a little more of.
Especially as we head into the, holiday season and the end of the year.
For sure. It's a time for reflection, but also a time for looking ahead and setting intentions for the new year.
And I think those pro tips that we've been talking about from the blog post are so helpful in that regard.
Totally. They're like little nuggets of wisdom that you can actually apply to your life.
Right. It's not just about, reading your horoscope and then forgetting about it. It's about taking those insights and using them to create positive change.
And it's not about making these huge, drastic changes either.
Yeah, it's more about those small, consistent actions that add up over time.
Exactly. Like celebrating those small wins, protecting your energy, trusting your intuition. Those are all things we can do on a daily basis.
I love that. It's about creating a mindset shift, really.
It is. And Sagittarius season is the perfect time to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, before we officially wrap up this deep dive, I have a question for you, and it's inspired by everything we've been talking about.
Okay, hit me with it.
So, thinking about your own rising signs forecast and those themes of adventure, boldness, and purpose, what's one small step outside your comfort zone that you can take this season?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's about finally starting that writing project I've been putting off.
Ooh, I love that. What kind of writing project?
Well, I've always wanted to write a children's book.
Oh, that's amazing. What's stopping you?
Just those usual fears and doubts, like, am I good enough? Will anyone actually want to read it? But Sagittarius season is all about facing those fears and going for it. So I'm going to try to channel that energy and just start writing.
That's awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What about you? What's one small step you're thinking of taking?
Well, I've been wanting to try a new fitness class.
Oh, fun. Which one?
I've been eyeing this aerial yoga class. It looks so cool.
Oh, wow. That does sound challenging.
It does, but also, like, really empowering. So
Mer-
yeah, I think I'm going to sign up for a trial class and see how it goes.
I love that. You should totally report back and let me know how it is.
I will. It's definitely a step outside my comfort zone, but that's what Sagittarius season is all about, right?
Exactly. Embracing those challenges and seeing what we're capable of.
Well said. All right, I think that's a wrap on our Sagittarius season deep dive.
What a journey.
It was. A huge thank you to the blog My Name's CERN for providing all the insights that fueled our conversation today.
Yes, thank you. You can find the full blog post in our show notes if you want to dive even deeper.
And, as always, we'd love to hear from you. What resonated with you today? What are your plans for embracing this Sagittarius energy? Connect with us on social media and let us know.
We love hearing from you guys.
Thanks for joining us on this cosmic journey. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
See you then.